pulling all these pieces apart and finding, so let me use James and Wendy for a moment. And James has been working the 50-cent leads. Wendy's working the $40 leads. I'm going to use them as an example for a moment because when you're digging into and then I think we even need to have them both comment on it today. And then we're going to go into the questions of where you're at and what is it where are you stuck? Kind of like me having the conversation with Mike today. Where are you stuck and what do we need to be doing? What is that next step? Does that mean we have to have an individual meeting with you to be able to help you? That's fine. We'll do that. But using the comparison of them, James is having to get in and dial more. Look at the accountability if you were in and if you weren't. The numbers are really, really high for James right now. He wrote over $15,000 in business last month. Wendy wrote over $46,000 in business last month. The reason, again, that I'm using those numbers is that we can look at it and see, James, I'm going to pick on you for a moment. And the reason I'm going to pick on you for a moment is I want to talk just a little bit about where you were in the dialing process and how you've shifted because you were struggling too. And now all of a sudden you're off to the races, wrote $15,000 last month. Was it a mindset shift along with the dialing? Do you kind of want to share with everybody to kind of give you, because that's inspiring for everybody that's on here.
Yeah, sure. So sorry about my voice. I'm losing it.
Oh,
Um,
sorry.
so my problem was I didn't listen to Wendy. Um, she kind of guided me. She said, "Hey, listen." She always said, "I'm not here to spend your money, but kind of this is an idea of what you want to do." And I didn't listen. I didn't buy leads consistently. I didn't build. It's escaping my mind. Wendy, help me out. Build a stream of leads. What do you
Pipe
call it?
pipeline.
Pipeline. There you go. I didn't build a pipeline. And yeah, I'm building a pipeline with G leads and H leads or whatnot right now, but I'm starting to build a pipeline with A leads. So I just started buying some of those and they're working out a little bit. So it's listening to your upline, listening to those that are being successful. I always thought in my mind, I'm going to do it my way. I know what's best, and it doesn't work that way. So,
Great. James, thank you. I won't keep calling on you now if you're losing your
no,
voice,
you can if you want.
but,
Absolutely,
but,
no
but
problem.
thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
That James, Jerry, I see your hand. Let me just bring Wendy in for something and then I'm going to come back over to you, buddy. Um, so the reason that I'm also wanting to kind of Wendy on this particular piece of it right now is the the accountability. Wendy, can you kind of reinforce what I'm trying to say as far as the accountability and how important that particular piece is to really being in there every single day and putting your numbers in, whether you've got anything in there or not?
I mean, the thing is that if you're not tracking, you don't know what you're really doing. I mean, you can say, I think I'm doing this, or it feels like I'm doing this. It's like people that's on a diet. Well, I didn't eat that much today. I don't know why I gained weight. Well, if you wrote down everything you ate, you would see what is really going on. And it's the same with this business. Numbers don't lie. And, the thing is yes, if someone is being successful and they're telling you how to do it and you don't do it, then that's on you. To be 100% like truthful. It just is what it is. Um, if you see someone being successful and they're giving you the recipe, take the recipe and use it. At the end of the day with this business, you can come in and you can try to do it your own way because I know I've done it myself. And I tell that to James and anybody who is direct to me or whatever it may be. I have made all of the mistakes. But I'm also on the other side of it in terms of how I produce every month. So there has to be something valid there. And if you're in the meetings and you're engaged, you hear the same thing over and over again. It just comes from a different voice, and it might land on your ears a little bit differently that time, depending on how it's coming to you. And numbers don't lie. If you want to get good at this business, you have to put in the time. You can't come in and do it 2 days and get all, lack of a better word, pissy about it because it's not going your way. 2 days is not enough time. And it happens so often. I've had it happen in the last 2 months. Someone comes in, they get contracted quick, they dial for a day, they didn't make a sale, and now they're done because it's not going to work. This
It,
business is like sports. It is. And if you like sports and you like that kind of, I don't know the word I'm looking for at this point, but if you're competitive in that nature, you have to practice it to get good at it. If you've never sold life insurance, you don't know what you're doing. And the only way to know what you're doing is to listen to people who are doing it and have a script and get really good at practicing the script. So when you talk to people on the phone, you know what to say. It's not like going to work at Target and you just have to learn their process. This is completely different. You're working with people. And so often we all come from different backgrounds and we're all good at so many different things, but this is a different animal. And if you want to be successful, you have to know where where the weakness is. Can't get good at something or fix something if you don't know where the problem's at. If we're looking at your numbers and you like, I worked so hard last week, I did 25 dials, there's your problem. If you come in and you're like, man, I worked so hard, I did 750 dials. I talked to 3 people, but I didn't make any appointments. Congratulations, you made 750 dials. It's half the process. Let's go do 750 more. Let's see if you can talk to more people. Okay? That's how we're able to figure out what you need to work on. But if you're not working and in the mix and you think you can do it yourself, you're going to find yourself, I always say if you're not around the fire, you're going to get cold and you're going to go home and find something else to do.
yeah, Wendy, that's great. And the thing is that, like I said, if you come to us and you say that it's not working, and we break it down and say, well, there was no leads, you didn't purchase any leads, you didn't do any dials, just like Wendy was just saying, you did 25, and you're saying it's not working. We can look at that. I mean, that again, it is our report card and we have to. So it's why I'm emphasizing it so much. We talk about engagement, but we have got to get you into the accountability and putting those numbers in and being in there so that we can see how we can make you. Now,
Here's the
first, I
thing.
want to just.
But here's the thing. If you're working another job, that's a different animal. That's a conversation for a different day. There are other things that we can figure out and help you. I started this business working full time. I would not have been able to get into a 9 o'clock call every day when I'm seeing patients at 9 o'clock. It just wouldn't have happened. However, I found a way to make it work, and I did. So if that's what's going on with you, because I don't know everybody's individual situation, then you can figure that out. So don't let it be an excuse, because you
Right.
can find
And
a
number,
way or you can find an excuse. Is what I told my kids this weekend. James, were you going to add something?
I forget. It's okay.
it's okay.
It'll
Oh,
probably come back up.
James, no problem. Well, the thing is it, like she said, part time. You can still be putting the numbers in, right? So she's 100%, like, you can't get in at 9 o'clock. Get the numbers in so that way we've got it so that when we're reviewing it and going through with you, we're able to do that. Jerry, you had your hand up. Did you have a question on that? Yeah, why don't you pop in and let's take that question, bud.
I was essentially talking about, I was going to ask James this. I know he mentioned it last week, but not for a new agent, someone who's been doing it for a while. So you have your pipeline. What are you looking for contacts? If you have, like, some people I've heard will do 10 contacts. Um, like, you can just pick 100 leads that you know haven't answered before, call them, and you have your 100 dials in, but you're not getting any contacts, and that's really not doing me any good. So is there a specific number of contacts you go for?
So I can't make people pick up. So when they do pick up, what am I saying to them? How am I keeping them engaged in a conversation? What questions am I using? And how am I gaining their interest and trust in a matter of what, 30 seconds, at least to start. So when I do that, and it's a contact. So I mean, I can't make people pick up the phone. Obviously, fresher leads, maybe an A, B, or C is going to pick up the phone because they just called in an A lead, but a G or H probably forgot all about us.
But what did you say last week? It might have been when there was only a few of us in there in our room. Did you say you were looking to get a specific number of contacts to maybe was it to improve from last week or something?
I mean, I
Okay.
try and, yeah, I'm not sure. I try and get fresh leads. I dial as much as I can. But one thing I don't do is I try not to just keep dialing the same leads over and over and over again. It doesn't work. Yeah, it looks like you're dialing a lot. You're dialing 100 dials, 125, 150 dials, but you're dialing the same leads over and over. I give them a little breather. I try and get new ones in. I'm not sure if that's answering that question or not, but.
Does that answer your question, Jerry?
Um, yeah, well, yes and no. I thought there was I thought maybe James was just talking about a specific goal he was setting for himself, but I thought, I mean, does anybody go for contacts? Does anybody say I'm going to keep doing this till I get 10 contacts? Um, just a
I
thought.
see what you're saying. Yeah, no, that's good. So you're saying, okay, well, let's say I'm going for 100. What you're saying is I'm going for 100 dials, but I'm not going to quit until I get 10 contacts for the course of the day, is
Well,
what you're
like if I'm like I've gotten leads, I don't want to take up too much of your time with this, but I've gotten leads regularly, as you know. The last week is the first time I haven't gotten leads, and I can't tell you how long. But I still maybe I've just used them too much. And maybe someone like me who's dialing those 100 dials now, and isn't getting a kind of ton of contacts, maybe I should be shooting for contacts, which would extend the dials as well.
Yeah, I agree. And it's back to the math again, right, Jerry? So the more dials, more contacts, more appointment schedule. So yeah, that might be a good way to look at it. I like that. That's a good question. I want to go on for a moment here, and I want to just answer Crystal's question. Good question. A pipeline, Crystal, is as we're continuing to bring in new leads, as where you're building your pipeline of business. So now that as you've got more contacts. A good example is Wendy was talking the other day where she actually ended up writing an application from somebody. I think what was it, Wendy, about 3 months back, so that means it was in her pipeline of business. So because she's calling new people today, she ended up picking up a sale from somebody that she had followed up with 3 months ago. So that's her pipeline of business is what we're talking about. Okay. Absolutely.
Sean,
Chris,
can I pop in real quick?
well, I was just going to, yes, it looked like, yeah, go right
Uh,
ahead.
yeah. Just to follow up on Jerry's question, because
Yeah.
he had a great question.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of metrics that we can track, and they're all important. I think the baseline metric, the one that drives everything else, is how many sits do you have? Because we know statistically speaking, you have 10 sets or set with 10 people. So for those who are new, sits are called or what we call an appointment. If I get somebody either on the phone or on screen and we're having an appointment about their situation, not the appointment setting call, but the actual call where we're going through product and their situation and trying to match up their gap. We need 10 of those a week minimum to be able to do $3,000 to $5,000 a week in production. So as you work backwards from that,
I was just,
really at the end of the week, if you haven't had 10 sets, it's you do more dials. Like that's the very baseline easy way to now we can track metrics over time, and obviously we can make adjustments to, maybe you're talking to a lot of people and not getting a lot of those to set an appointment, or you're getting appointments set, but they're not showing up. Like in those steps, we can help you improve your process. But the baseline for success in this business is 10 sits a week for a full-time agent, and whatever that takes. For some people, that's setting 20 appointments because they have a 50% show rate, which means 10 people are going to be there. And that's the metric we use. Everybody's going to be a little bit different. Some people may get away with doing 15 appointments and their 10 show up. But if we start with 10 is our number, and then we reverse into that, that gives you actually a lot of freedom in my mind, because if I'm sitting at Thursday and I've sat with two people, man, I got to be on my bike pedaling hard because I got a lot of ground to make up, Thursday, Friday, Saturday for me to call my week successful. So sits should drive everything that we do.
I love that, Chris. Yeah, because you're right. Because we always talk about you've got to have so many sits to be able to be writing the application, because there are people, like you said, that just aren't going to show up. So I like the reverse engineering, whatever that number is that you've got to do to be able to make those sits that you're actually setting with 10 people. And then, like Chris said, it's always going to be different for different people. Not everybody is writing, like $40,000 in a month, like Wendy using the same thing. So it's what's going to work for you is going to be a little bit different, than that is for Mike or for Nikki, because we're all at different places at this particular point. Do you have anything more you wanted to add to that, Chris?
Yeah, just to kind of to tie the loose ends on that, or what
Yeah.
I feel like I left as loose ends is basically
Yeah.
where we have when we have the number of sets, 10 sets as our metric. Some weeks, yeah, here's the other thing about statistics that kind of just all of us as humans, we have a tendency to think in linear terms, meaning I dial 300 times, I talk to 50 people, and I'm going to set 10 appointments, and we think that's going to happen every week. The reality is, if I put my focus on 10 sets, I may call 20 people and set 10 appointments, and all 10 of them show one week. But I may the next week have to talk to 1,000 people just to get 20 people on the phone, or 30 people, whatever, just to get 20 appointments scheduled, just to get 10 people to show up. The point being, if sits is my metric that's driving my business, 10 sits. If I don't have 10 sits, my business is not going to survive. If I don't have 10 sits, then everything we work backwards into that again. If I'm at a Wednesday and I have 0 sits, I've got to be hustling hard. If I'm at Wednesday and I've already got 7 sits, okay, maybe not coast, but I don't have to push as hard for Thursday and Friday to hit my 10, because especially if I've got another 5 or 8 appointments, my odds are going to be in my favor to get my sits by the end of the week. So I just wanted to frame that up because, again, when we start talking about statistics, I think the mind reverts to it's the same thing as this is where people feel like they're struggling. Well, I talked to 10 people and I wrote no applications. I'm obviously sucking. Well, no, not necessarily. That's why we do the accountability call every morning, and then we review numbers at the end of the month, because the thing about statistics are you can't look at too short of a window because that doesn't give you a picture. So if I talk to 10 people and I write 0 policies, I have a 0% close ratio, right? But if I talk to 20 people and I have 6 policies written, now I have a 30% close ratio and I'm right back on track. So, but those 6 sales may have not come until 5, 15, 16, 17, 18 appointments. You see what I mean? So
Right.
this is why consistency is so crucial in this business. That's why 10 sits is the metric that you have to live and die by. And that's why it takes what it takes when it comes to the activity side of things. We give you targets. I would say 100 dials a day is kind of your baseline target. But there again, if 100 dials a day doesn't get you the results that you need, it may mean that the next day I need to do 200 dials a day to make up ground and make sure that I'm staying ahead of my numbers.
The other part that you're saying there, and I know that I've said it a lot lately, but we have a lot of new people on here that we like what you're saying is setting that expectation in your mind, right, Chris? So it's like, for example, and again, I know I've said it over and over for you that have heard me say it, but it takes an average of 12 times for someone to pick up that phone one time. And most in the average salesperson only calls twice. Then it takes 9 no's to get 1 yes. So when you call somebody and somebody says no, you need to go through 8 more no's to get a yes. And that's not just in this business. That's just in sales in general across everything. And then what I love that you just said, Chris, too, and I know again we've talked about it, but if you take it as you have to look at it as a month. You can't say I had a bad day and on top of what Wendy was saying, okay, well I dialed today and I didn't get 1 appointment scheduled. But you can't look at it like that. That's just sales in general. You've got to continue to put in the activity. That's why the accountability is so important and why those numbers are so important, and that you're putting them in and we're able to look at it. So, and I love that where we've got to be looking at, that's the appointments. Addie put it in there. Sits is appointments. People that you actually showed up to your appointment and you got to sit with and have a conversation with. So it's digging into that particular piece. Now, the accountability, the numbers, and what we need to be doing in setting that expectation is, what are you doing? I was in a meeting earlier today and we were talking about our schedules. What are we doing every day with our schedule? And are we, so let's put it out there. I've been struggling with it lately, right? As we're building a bigger agency and more people are coming on and we're doing more things, I have to do a better job of building my schedule. Are you putting time down on your schedule for the day? And are you shutting all of the other noise when you're dialing and being able to work and take care of calling your clients and really working that? Are you scheduling that time? Not just, okay, I have a little bit of time right now, I'm going to go ahead and jump in and be able to dial. So accountability, then there needs to be an accountability with the schedule. If you were working a job and working for somebody, you would be required a certain period of time for you to be doing your dialing. If you were doing this job and you were working at, for example, New York Life and you were going into work, you can't be going off and doing something else. It's back to that accountability piece, but it's creating your schedule. Are you getting into the dial room when Wendy is dialing? Are you getting in? We also have the Mac room. If it isn't that we don't have a live dial session, the Mac room is going on and you can listen to other people in there dialing at the same time. There's other really good people that we can be listening to, and there's different styles. One of the things on Thursdays, Wendy, is that call on Thursdays or is that Tuesday? I'm sorry, that we're always talking about
Getting unstuck.
Getting unstuck. That's
Thursdays.
So getting unstuck, like we were talking about, if you look at that Mac room schedule, there is going to be something in there getting unstuck. It's listening to people dial. It's Wednesday nights listening to Jim Larson. And if you've got somebody new or you are new yourself, get in there about getting activated in the very beginning. It's being engaged and using the pieces. That's the part of the Business 101 that I was trying to think about being able to get across to everybody today, is that we say it, and it's like Chris said the other day, it's a cliche thing to say, but it is your business. And it can be successful, but it is doing the accountability, it's doing the engagement, and it's being part of the things that are available to you. One of the things that I hear constantly, where is she? There she is, Crystal. Okay. So one of the things that I hear constantly when we're going through and doing interviews, I hear it all the time, especially if somebody's been coming from another agency or something like that. I constantly hear, I didn't have the support. I'm not getting the engagement and the training that I need to be able to build my agency. That's not the case here. We really truly have the support that you need, everybody in this agency. If it's not working for you, it is not on Symmetry, it is on you, because we really truly have the support that we need. Everything from the accountability to the engagement to the macrum to Wendy dialing and getting in and being able to listen to her, to us being available to be able to help you, to the training that Symmetry gives you. When I talk about it, I know I say it ad nauseum, but this is a franchise that we have been given, that we didn't have to pay for, but we have to earn it. But it is us actually doing the things and plugging into the things, and we've got everything that we need to be able to do that. Chris, do you want to follow up on that particular piece? Is there anything that you'd like to add to that?
No, I think you said perfectly. This is a system. It's here. Plug into it and live it, love it, learn it.
There's people winning at it every day. That's the thing that we need to look at. We're not looking at something that is like, it's the unknown, that we don't know if it works. It's just like if you go and buy a franchise and you buy a McDonald's franchise, do you expect that McDonald's franchise is going to win? 100%. You know it because there's a formula and it works. Symmetry gives us the formula and it works. So it's the part that I want to continue to really try to get in everybody's mind today more than anything is the engagement, the accountability, plugging in, and you will win. Don't question that you can win here because you 100%. Now, will you have rough days? Yes, because they're going to have rough days. You're going to have days that people are hanging up on you, telling you to get banned, get lost, hang up, move on to the next one, and just know that it is all math. Every bit of it's math. Now, I want to go on to the next. So we've talked about accountability and we've talked about being engaged here and really being engaged in this business. The next piece that I kind of want to get into is inside the Symmetry is the training that we need. If it is, so Mike and I, again, Mike, I'm going to just pick on you again, not picking on you, but using you in our conversation earlier. So let's say I want to get into funnel for a moment. I'm hearing this more and more. So I'm going to give a commitment that I'm going to just do a better job of understanding funnel, even more so than I do right now, right? So it's like we had another system, hadn't been using it as much. I've been really digging into it and understanding it. Jerry's been trying to go and understand some of it. Mike's in there understanding it. And funnel has so much to it that if you go in, I challenge you to go in and do the training that they have. And Jerry, I am working on getting some more. I have already got a little bit more information on it. But using the funnel system, when we talk about trying to get through the amount of dials, it is extremely advanced. Your scripts are in there. So you've got two different scripts. It used to be we had to print it out and I had to have it up on the screen and everything like that. Funnel has your best script. It has your second script. It has, if we got the information, and we're talking on old 50-cent leads, with inside that is actually telling you right in front of you while you're in there and it's calling, it's giving you like how much do they owe on their mortgage. It's telling you what their address is so that when you're going through that process, you're on there and it's in front of you. So as that person picks up and it's doing the auto dialer, it's going through the auto dial, it stops on Linda Scott and it says Mrs. Scott, and it's got everything, got her name, got the whole thing. You're just saying it in front of you. And then you're actually over to the right, able to start actually quoting. You're not going to do that at that particular point, but that's how advanced that our CRM has become. And it's everything in front of you. The script, all the information. It has voice drop for you to be able to do voice drop if you want to be able to do that. It has where you can put in campaigns and be able to text and have campaigns in there. Again, I'm going back to what Symmetry gives us. Symmetry worked on this. We didn't have this when I started. We were printing off pages and using it and using our phone. It's very, very advanced. So, but it is getting in and using that piece. And again, commitment from me, I'm going to do a better job. And then we're also, I think what I'd like to do is maybe have a meeting where James, because you've become like very proficient at using funnel, is you coming in. Are you okay with doing that with us one day and going through what you've learned with funnel so far? Okay, great. All right, so we'll do that. I think what we'll do is almost have like a funnel meeting for the people that want to get in and understand. Let's share. Let's go through all of the training and all the different pieces that we need to be doing to make that, successful. So again, back to accountability, being engaged, using the tools, like, for example, funnel. And then I think, if I'm not mistaken, if it was Andrew that was saying when he was using it at some point, he was getting through 400 dials in a day working a 6-hour day, because it's dialing one time, two time. You're not sitting there trying to do it. The system is just dialing and going through and hitting the next person over and over till they pick up the phone. Well, if they're picking up the phone, now you've got the contact. You're not so worried about getting to the next one as quickly. So let's use the pieces that Symmetry is giving us, which is the funnel. And then the next piece that I want to get into, and Chris, I'm going to Wendy, you guys, we need to also, the next piece, we are here, use us. So I want for myself, is us scheduling time, whether it be 30 minutes for us with you on your goals. What are your goals that you're putting into accountability? And then us, especially if you're new, sitting down and us talking about what it is, just like in here, what we need to be doing to be able to help you. Back to that engagement piece and being able to help you with building your agency. Chris, Wendy, do either one of you want to kind of add on to that particular piece? And then I want to go into questions for people from today so far.
Yeah, so it's really hard to know where you're going if you don't have a destination in mind. And this business, I'm convinced the reason a lot of people leave it is because they're not tying this business to what they wanted to do for them, and what the outcomes are they want. Because everybody is seeing the overview, and there was something that sparked in them that they kind of dreamed a little bit. What if? May have tapped into a dream that they have held for a long time with other opportunities, other businesses, something they thought was going to take off, other opportunities that they've maybe had or missed. But usually it is around something deeper than just money. And money isn't going to be a driver, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm actually a big believer that money is a good thing and having a lot of it. But usually it's what the money does for you. Maybe it's that dream of family vacations, more than once every 5 years, and doing it every year, 2 times a year, 3 times a year, going to exotic locations, all expenses paid. Maybe it's just not having to sit in traffic for 2 hours one way to get to a job that I absolutely hate, and sit there for 8 hours and then drive 2 hours back. you know I mean, I could go through the list. Like everybody's got their list in their head, that thing that if I could just get here, life would be so much better. And so what we do, this is about not it's yes, it's about goal setting, but it's goals tied to what do you want, because it's more than just a number. The number will get where you want to go, and we need to know that number. But we also want to know what's that number funding. So, I mean, my challenge to all of you is why? Why are you here? Why what is it that you saw that, hey, maybe, just maybe, this thing will actually get me that pot of gold at the end of the rainbow? What is that pot of gold? Because I can tell you there's a lot of people that have found it in this business. But they found it by first starting with the pot of gold and then working backwards. So you notice the kind of a theme here. we got to work backwards. We got to know where we're going to be able to build the bridge to get there. And the beautiful thing about the symmetry system in this business is once we know that, and I want you, everybody listening very carefully. Once we know where you want to go, we can tell you exactly step by step how to get there
Mm.
because our numbers don't change. Like our average case size is very consistent for the last 15 years that I've been here. It hasn't moved a lot, moved up a little bit, which is good for us. But it really hasn't changed. The metrics, that 10 cents was the same when I started and as a brand new agent in 2015. That metric is the same. When you go to Engage, you're going to hear Casey talking about fill your 2 boxes, write your 5K and onboard your 5 people a week. That hasn't changed since I started with the company. So I just want to share. I mean, the only reason I share that piece with you is all that's already built out for you. Like we don't have to expend mental energy trying to figure out how to make that possible. What we need to know is what's possible for you. Like what's at the end of that, of that dream. And then we will help. I will give you Sean, Wendy, we will give you play by play what it's going to take to get there.
Totally. I love it, Chris, because it's like us using the income calculator, right? So us going in and figuring out what it is we need, and that's different for all of us. Nobody's got the same phone, same number, but it's going in and putting your number in there and figuring out what you need so we can show you what you need to be writing to be able to have that kind of deposit in there on a regular basis. What's your number? Like, I love the thing better with what Chris is saying as far as, what inspired you to come here in the beginning? You heard something, that's it. But the money piece, you also need to make sure that you're paying your bills and what is it you need to be doing and what do you need to get that next promotion? Where else do you go when you can give yourself your own promotion? Right? We're able to do that here. From there, what I want to go into, because I wanted to I really wanted to dig into commit to the accountability, commit to the engagement, commit to really, really knowing that this thing works people are winning at it every day, but it's you coming in and making it so it's going to work for you. But from there, I want to go into questions. If you're at a particular point, like Jerry was asking the question, I really want to dig into, because next Monday, I really would like a commitment for as many people commit to, if you're not working another job, like Wendy was saying, but from 10 to 11, the whole hour will go, then Wendy goes right into dialing. That whole hour is about you being able to ask questions. That's what it's about. License to launch for you, for your business. That's what it's about. So I wanted to kind of introduce that here a little bit today, of you being able to ask a question. And don't listen, I was the most shy person that ever came along. I wouldn't speak. Brian's over there nodding his head. I mean, I'm serious. I mean, petrified. I would not. And I got to tell you, if someone told me I had to speak when I first got on here, I probably wouldn't have been here. But I've grown into it. This business makes you, Symmetry is a motivational, inspiring company that happens to sell life insurance. You will become a better person if you are part of Symmetry Financial Group. You just will become a better leader. They give us back to it. I was in a meeting today from 2 to 3:15 for the leadership in this company to teach us how to be able to become better leaders and be able to help other people build their business. There is nobody there. Everybody else is focused just on the money. Symmetry is doing everything they can to help us. So who has a question? Anybody have a question that you can ask Chris, Wendy, me, any one of us, that we can help you on, or to step your
I
in
have a
right now?
comment. I just want to comment on your comment. You guys have no idea what he was like. Sweaty palms. I mean, he would get sick if he knew. he did a breakout session. Where was that, Sean?
Dallas?
Where was your breakout? Dallas. He was sick to his stomach. They had to pat him on the back and tell him it was going to be okay. You have no idea. This company has transformed him into a speaker. I mean, for him to get on this call and do this, I was just thinking earlier how much he's changed and how much, and it's because of Symmetry. It's the only reason.
It's true. I mean, I passed up. So that's just one piece of Symmetry. I mean, if anybody has drank the Kool-Aid of Symmetry Financial Group, Sean Cochran has drank the Kool-Aid, right? It is, you're not going to find a better opportunity as far as going out and being able to get a business going. But even that piece, all the way down to that, I am somebody that can speak now. I still would be a mess if you wanted to put me up on, a stage. But I wouldn't speak to more than 2 or 3 people in these groups in the beginning. I passed up opportunities. But Symmetry 100% has transformed me because it's always about making us better people. Symmetry Financial Group, they do good things in the world. You don't see that from the other companies that you end up parting of. They're putting in wells over in Africa to be able to give, people drinking water. It's just who this company is. It just makes us better people. So, thanks a lot, Brian. So, any questions that anybody has at this point?
Crystal has a question in the
Crystal has
chat.
a question. Given when you do clients ask when making appointments? So, Crystal, it just depends upon the leads that you are purchasing. So you can get leads as inexpensive as 50 cents. So if they're 50 cents, $100, you're going to get 100 of them. So it just really depends. And you and I'll work on that, right? Like what's the budget? And that's one of the things we try to work on, guys. What's your budget? Where are you at? What are you trying to accomplish? Like we just said, we got to reverse engineer that. And what Chris was talking about, and figure that out. And then, boy, that's all over the place as far as most common question do clients ask when making appointments. It's Wendy, why don't you with me? Like one of the things that you'll find is a lot of people. It's taking the lead. It's what you're going to hear from Wendy. The posture that you kind of take is going to be the base of how the questions that you're going to get. The posture of the appointment, the posture of that you're here to help them, giving them, pitfalls that they may run into when they're shopping with other people that we're going to help you, for example, with living benefits, if you, as well as being able to get your family covered. Wendy, do you want to kind of hop into that particular piece as well?
What was the question specifically?
What was the most common questions normally do clients ask when making the appointment? Like questions for you as you're trying to schedule an appointment. That's why I was mentioning the posture piece.
God, I don't even know if there's a good way to answer that. I mean, you're
So many.
there's nothing across the board. I mean, it's just a matter of getting on the phone and jumping in and seeing what people are asking or listening to a live dial session. And those people are not asking you questions. You're asking the questions and letting them answer.
Taking the lead, the posture. Yeah. That's the thing, is going back and going into those dial rooms, listening to Wendy dial. And the thing is, when she's dialing, she goes right into the appointment. You get to see her screen. You get to see her going through that whole process. So that really, you get to hear a lot of those questions when you're getting into those dial rooms like that. You're going to hear more of that. So getting engaged in that is going to be a lot of help, 100%. Does that answer your question, Crystal? Okay, beautiful. Yes. Yep. Good question. There's some days we don't, but let's say Wendy's not dialing a particular day. She's just not doing the live dial that day. We have the Mac room. And I think we need to emphasize that a little bit more, meaning if we're not open and we're not live dialing, if there's we can be using, we got to back to utilizing what we have, We have a lot that we have available to us, and it's using all those things. So the group me is great, guys. Like Ash is constantly dumping things in there. Thank you, Ash. We appreciate you for doing that for us. Um, keeping up with what's going on. You're going to see everything that's going on each day is going to be in that group me. So
Hey,
it's really
Crystal,
effective. Yep.
Crystal, are you getting emails from me? Maybe not. I'll check the email list because I send them out. I send the live dials out every day to remind and then with the schedule. So I'll make sure that you're in our email list.
I'm not sure if I've gotten any emails currently. I just only see the ones from Sharons Bay at the moment and Symmetry at the
Okay, I
moment.
apologize. I might not have added you to the email. I'll do that.
That's okay. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Sure.
Good questions, Crystal. Okay. Does anybody else have anything that they would like to ask today? And remember, that's the part that's what we're doing on Mondays, right? We're going through, and what's really great about us doing this is that the questions that Crystal are asking are other questions, as an example, that somebody's getting to hear, that might trigger something in their mind. It's going back and forth and being able to ask questions, and we're all helping each other, right? So just so important. That something else that I just really, really, really want to emphasize is, you've heard me say it, but I was talking about it earlier. This is an us and we business. So we aren't our own individual person here. I was thinking about it recently. It takes on its own identity. It becomes its own entity. And we're all kind of on the outside of that entity of what we're building here, because you can't do it alone. As you're building your agency, we're all here. We are a village that is continuing to help each other. So as we're building this thing, we're all putting into this to be able to continue to build it. As we always say, all of us together, raising each other up. So it's us continuing. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to call us and say that I need help. We all just need to continue, because we are, like I said, it's not just over here Sean Cochran doing this thing or Chris Menefee doing this thing. We are, it's all of us together collectively to be able to make this thing work. One person cannot make it up to the top. It's all of us doing it together. So the most important thing is that you're asking questions. It's that you're getting engaged, you're doing the accountability, and then we're all going to help each other to be able to get us up to the top of this company together. And as a family, we all become very, very close here. So if you're new here, this is a close-knit relationship. We all really care about each other and help each other, right? So we just need to get in, dig in. If you need us, don't ever question picking up that phone. Pick up the phone and give us a call. Chris, do you want to add anything to that? Can't bother me enough. Yes, Ash.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's it's a system. It's a system and it's meant to be utilized, and that's why people who do utilize it are more successful than the average agent in the industry, which, this industry has a very high washout rate. So, people still, people still don't make it here, but I'm convinced, and I've observed it over and over again, the people who don't make it here are the ones that are just not leaning in and digging into anything and everything that's possible they put in front of them, and just not connecting with their mentor and spending enough time. We've got on this team, we've got a bunch of top producers, we've got a bunch of elite producers, we've got 6 agency owners, and I can tell you the common thread among all of them are they're the ones who, in the beginning especially, but even throughout their career, were the ones that were in my ear or their upline ears daily, multiple times a day. And that is the one thread. I don't think there's anything else that I could say that everybody has in common other than they were the ones that were most active, especially as they were new agents, and just they did not let a question go unasked.
Yes.
So if you're wanting to know what's the secret to success, I just gave it to you. Just start hammering the phone in your upline and, you know, what can I do to get better? I'm stuck here. I'm struggling here. Help me with my numbers. Help me plan. What does this look like? Like, just keep asking.
Love it, Chris. I think the last thing that I'll add to follow up on what you're saying to wrap us up today, Symmetry believes that part so much. They changed the name in the very beginning of some of the conferences. Every single conference is the same name every single year now. It's Engage. They believe it so much because they have realized, I mean, Symmetry is evolving and learning as we're going along as well about what are the right things to be giving. Like if you hit a particular level, don't ever think that you've arrived, no matter where you hit. I'm an agency owner. You can't say I arrived. Chris is here to tell you, and he's told me he's at 130. He's at the top of this company, but he's in this call with us, and he's working to continue to build this agency larger and larger. So it's continuing to be engaged and continuing to build. So thank you all for coming in, for all of you that are showing up to these meetings. Continue to do this. Continue. Let's get you into accountability if you're not already in there. But really, really appreciate everybody getting in here. Let's continue to engage. Let's go out and kill it together. And everybody have a great evening.